20 minutes, let's not talk that much and dive in. Starting with the first point, business planning and strategy. Let's look on the build, measure and learn feedback loop which comes from the lean startup methodology. The method aims to save your money and time by focusing on getting the product to the market as fast as possible. So your goal is not to create the perfect product, it's to create one which delivers value to your customers. This sounds counterintuitive at first because we were taught that in order to get good grades in school, we have to avoid mistakes. But in business, this mindset is deadly. You've probably seen a lot of people get hung up on little things, which prevents them from being productive. To avoid becoming like that, you have to learn to focus on the right things. The build, measure and learn feedback loop will help you with that. To understand this, you have to know what the unique selling proposition is. It's basically the essence what makes your product better than your competitors. Let me explain it through the app I've built over the past few months. It goes by the name Collectum. It's basically a social media platform where people can share their loved belongings. For example, if you enjoy your sneakers, bags or makeup, you can then share your loved possessions over there with family and friends. Or if you're a collector of cards, coins or have just unique stuff, you're also very welcome to join our community. The unique selling proposition of my app is that you can create a digital showroom, which basically you can't on other social media platforms. So it sounds pretty basic because it's the next social media application, but it has that one small twist that you can share your loved belongings and categorize them as you like to. Now on the contrary, that's how my business model looks like. Let's not look at it as a whole, but let's focus on the bottom right. You'll see that I can envision much more functionalities to integrate in the app. For example, I can think of a value tracker that allows you to track the current market value of your stuff. And I also can think of fake check mechanisms that validates a product's authenticity. Or I can also envision that Collectum grows to a marketplace down the line and much more. But if I would have focused on creating all the functionalities right from the start, rather than publishing just with the base version as it is right now, I would have missed out on feedback from users and people like you. By following the lean startup methodology and creating a base version and going to market with it, you have a lot of advantages. You'll get feedback as said, proving or disproving your idea. Your time to market is much faster. And you'll save a lot of money as more functions mean more budget. For example, if I would have implemented all the features I have in my mind, the app would cost me around 40k. Right now I've spent a factors 10 less. Currently I'm standing at around 4k. After focusing on building the core functions, it's time to measure. Let's pick up the example from my app again. So it's been live for over 4 months now. And I've promoted it as well. On YouTube through ads, on Google, on Apple, on Reddit, just on every platform you can think of. And all of it just to measure the feedback. Surprisingly, the ads were successful. Around 300 people signed up so far. And we currently stand at an active daily user count of around 20 to 30 people. It's good, but there is a lot of missed potential. As I said, 300 people downloaded the app and only 20 to 30 people are using it on a constant basis. And this brings us from the measure phase to the learn phase. So next I analyzed which screens are most used. By doing that, I found that most users who deleted the app just navigated through the app once and then deleted it. What did that tell me? By downloading the app, my target users showed interest, but once they opened it, their expectations didn't match. So while the advertisement got their attention, the app didn't meet their expectation. With that information, I had two options at hand. Do I optimize the functionalities of the app or do I go with design optimization? I decided to move forward with design. And now we are coming to the end of the learn phase and come back to the build phase. As you can see over here, in reality, I'm working on a new interface as well. And currently the concept of how the app will look like in a few weeks looks like this, but before it looked like this. And during that phase, we made no functionality upgrades. We just did a design update because we want to create value that matters. And after the design improvement is done, then I will start the next advertisement. So then it will be time to measure again based on the new interface and to learn again based on the new measuring. And based on that, the next iteration cycle starts. By using this iteration cycle, you ensure that you build only things that matter for your user or for your customer. That brings us to the next point, marketing and awareness. I've experienced it myself. It doesn't matter how cool your product or service is. As long as you don't have the users that use and consume your product or service, it doesn't matter at all. Therefore, one of the very first things I do when I start a new business is to understand the customer journey. The standard scheme consists of 5 phases, with awareness being the first. Think about your customers. How do they interact with your company? Do they see some ads that you gave them some testers? There are dozens of strategies to get the first impression right. After that, the next phase of the customer journey starts, called consideration. Here the customer evaluates your product against their expectation. You can try to get some feedback from them through mailing lists or community management. But my advice is don't push that hard during that phase. Being too aggressive can come across like desperate or in need, and then at the end it does more harm than good. The next phase in the customer journey is called purchasing. Here the customer actively decides to buy. You can see that closing one deal is not that easy. Think of it like throwing 1,000 darts at once at a board. If only one lands in the bullseye, you can consider yourself as lucky. And it's the same with marketing and outreach. Promoting and reaching 1,000 people is one thing, but that only one customer makes the decision to buy your product is a total different game. But let's assume that you manage to do that and customers are signing up for your product or your service. Now you have created value, and the next phase in the customer journey is to keep that value inside your company. So you must engage with your customers in a relatable way. Just sending out newsletters isn't enough. Customers want social interaction, especially from small business owners. They don't want to see you as someone who just wants to generate revenue. They want to see you as someone they can trust, someone who solves their problem and in return they are willing to pay you with their hard-earned money. If you achieve this level of trust, you have found some real advocates. And this is the final phase of the customer journey, finding people that speak up for your product. Always appreciate customers that go above and beyond for your business. Incentivize them where you can with gifts, discounts and so on. Make them feel appreciated. Plus it motivates new customers who want to get that special treatment as well. So as I said, creating awareness through marketing is one thing, but the overall goal is to get paying customers. And the proven method to do this is the pricing elasticity analysis. It's a simple graph showing the connection between demand and price. So the higher the price, the lower the demand. And the lower the price, the higher the demand. But before you can create a pricing strategy, you have to take care of key components, such as market segmentation, customer segmentation, competitor analysis, market conditions, cost structure, product differentiation, and demand management. Let's look at some of them, starting with customer and market segmentation. These are two topics that get confused. We'll keep it short. Customer segmentation focuses on analyzing your current customer base to create some segments that you can serve them better. You can group them by age, language, household income, whatever. Now let's understand market segmentation. Market segmentation refers to dividing the entire market in groups, and not just only your existing customers. The entire market is in the scope. You cover geographic factors like where do the people live, what language do they speak, and so on. Next, demographic factors like age, education, and so on. Third, psychographics like lifestyle, values, and so on. And lastly, behavioral like benefits, thoughts, buying intent, engagement, usage. Using these four categories, you can either create market segmentation or customer segmentation. So the key difference, I will repeat it, market segmentation is for acquiring new customers. Customer segmentation is to improve your services for your current customer base. Next in line to determine the pricing is competitors analysis. Let's say you aim for high prices and expect a low demand, so you're targeting high-paying clients. But looking at your competitors, you can understand that if someone is offering the same service for a cheaper price, then those high-paying clients will choose them, not you. I can highly recommend you to use the business model environment framework from the company Strategize. It's a tool that lets you analyze all the external factors that can influence your business model. It doesn't only look at your competitors, it gives a much broader view. With given guided questions, you can analyze key trends, market forces, macroeconomic forces, and industrial trends. I will link the source down below so you can find all the trigger questions for your business. And for the price elasticity, financials are important as well. And this brings us to our third strategy, the financials. One of the most common and most well-known method is the break-even analysis. It's defined as a process to calculate the number of goods and services your company must sell in order to make profit. This graphic over here will make it much easier. The red line is showing the fixed cost. Let's say it's 10,000. Fixed costs don't change with the number of product and services, as the name says. Fixed. Usually these are costs such as rent, machinery, staffing, and the orange line over here shows you the total cost. These include fixed plus variable costs. And variable costs are costs that can change with the number of product or service. A good example for that are packaging costs for your product, because with every product you need extra packaging, right? Now let's do an example. We have fixed costs. Let's call them CF. These type of costs you usually only need to sum up. Let's say we did that already for our company and identified every cost position like mortgage, rent, stuffing. We come to a value of around $4,000, let's say. Easy. Then we also have the CV for the variable cost. Now let's start with the variable X. X is the number of product. Then we open the parentheses and list every variable cost position that we can think of. For example, let's say we use some raw material that is needed per product and it's at $2.50 a piece. The packaging per unit is around 50 cents and the shipment per product is also 50 cents per unit. Now we would have an equation which goes CV equals X times, and then in parentheses, 2.5 plus 0.5 plus 0.5, which then equals 3.5 times X, right? And this was basically the equation for the variable cost. Now to get to the pricing, we also need the revenue equation, which is R equals to P times X. P is the price we don't know yet, and X will be the amount of products that is needed. Let's come back to our graphic. It's a purple line. Now that we have the total cost in orange and the revenue in purple, you must calculate exactly the point where these two lines are crossing. This is exactly the point where all of our expenses are covered, and from that point on, we are making profit. And before we got to the point, our expenses were higher than our revenue, leaving us with negative profit. Mathematically, it's easy to get to that value. Basically, take the revenue equation and equate it to the total cost. Let's say in my example I want to sell 3,000 products. So I take the variable cost equation at first and put 3,000 for X. And then I multiply it with 3.5, which then results in $10,500. Then add the $4,000 fixed cost per month, leaving us with a total cost of around $14,500. Now on the left side of the equation is the revenue, which now equates to price times 3,000. And this is on the left side, and on the right side we still have the 14,500, our total cost. Now we divide the 14,500 by 3,000. It results in a price of $4.83. This means if we manage to sell all of our products for $4.83, after selling 3,000 units, we've covered for all of our expenses. So every sale made after that would just mean profit. I think just calculating this for yourself a few times and with simple examples will show you that it's not that difficult, but it's a massive game changer for your financial planning. Now let's move to the last strategy, and it's a fun one called product strategy. Now here you need to really think like a strategist. Let me introduce you to a simple yet effective method called the BCG Matrix. It's a 2x2 framework made by the Boston Consulting Group. It helps businesses to understand their product portfolio. That way you can decide on what to invest, what to cut, and how to grow. Now based on two axes, growth and market share, your products fall into four categories. The first category are the stars. They have a high market growth and a high market share. These are your winning products. They bring in cash and grow fast. You want to invest heavily in them. Think of products like the iPhone in the early 2010s. Then we have the second category called the question marks. They have a high market growth but a low market share. These are products that are usually very tricky. They have potential but they are not in a winning position yet. And here you have to decide, do you want to invest in them and maybe grow them into stars? To be honest, most startups start right here. For example, Collectum, so the social media application I have, is a question mark at the moment. The market for digital collectibles is growing, I'm gaining first traction, but I have a low market share. And my job is to test and to learn, but without investing too much into the idea, right? And maybe I could turn it into a star. Then we have the third category called the cash cows. They have usually a low market growth, but you have a high market share. But these are your profit machine. They don't grow that fast, but generate a steady income. For example, take my cleaning service. It doesn't have a huge market potential, but in my portfolio, it has a good share. I don't say it has a big market share because there are other cleaning services much bigger who own the space, but just to give you an example. Fourth category is called pets or poor dogs. They have a low market growth and a low market share. Sadly, not all products work. Poor dogs eat your time, your energy, your money, and usually they don't give anything back. The smart move is usually to cut them unless they serve a strategic purpose. And here's the thing, most entrepreneurs don't think in portfolios. They fall in love with one idea and ignore the rest. But if you want to build a real business, you have to think like an investor. Even inside one product, you can apply this framework. For example, let's look at the functionalities in the Collectum app. I have identified for this example 3 features: the item collection feature, the value tracker, and the newsletter I'm sending out with Collect. The collection feature is a star at the moment. People enjoy using it. The value tracker is a question mark. It's cool, but it's in development and therefore a little bit buggy. The newsletter is a poor dog. It adds complexity but no value. So what did I do? I paused investing my time and effort into the newsletter and focused my time and energy into the star feature. This one small decision saves me weeks and makes the app better. So these were 5 academic strategies on how to grow your business. I tried to break it down as easy as possible, but let's sum it up again. First strategy, business planning. Here you get clarity and follow a plan. Second, marketing strategy. Know your customers and guide them. Third, pricing strategy. Build value, not just product. Fourth, financial management. Control your budget and your company revenue. Fifth, product strategy. Focus where it matters. Now before we end, let me say this. You don't need to implement all of these at once. Start small, pick one, apply it, learn from it, and improve. After you've implemented that successfully, come back and pick another one. What matters is that you treat your business like a system, not like a hustle. If you have any questions regarding these strategies, ask me in the comment section down below. Did you enjoy this type of breakdown and want more videos on each strategy? Let me also know in the comment section down below and subscribe. And if you want to keep growing your skills, watch my upcoming series about my life, where I wake up every day at 4:30 AM, hopefully. As said, like and subscribe, and see you in the next one. Bye.